Hello and blessings to you. I thought I'd do another video and we would keep with this free flowing, just where we read scripture and discuss and talk, rather than my other in-depth study videos where it's chapter by chapter and verse by verse. I thought I'd try a series of these videos where we're doing 20 minutes at a time, and somewhere in there to keep it short. And as I was thinking of the topic, last video I did like this, we just read scripture. It turned out to be about man and the fall in the first earth age. So, without doing an in-depth study, I still think we should stay within the first few chapters of Genesis just to get a good foundation. So when we start speaking to other things in the scripture, that you'll know, without the foundation, without the framework, without a sturdy frame and foundation to your understanding, just like a house, it's not going to wither the storms. It's not going to stand up to the test of time that we have to stand up to. And without a solid foundation within your soul and within your understanding, your house is in danger of falling in on itself. So we'll stay in the first book, Genesis, Bereshith. And as I think about this now, I'm going to be selective. Not that I'm going to jump around, but some things, it's really not a salvation issue. Let me put it that way, okay? So, after we have the fall of Hasatan in the first 4 verses, and the divide of the day, then we have the expanse and the waters, and we have the land, and we have all the water being gathered. I'm going to skip commenting and reading these because in context scripture really melts down some Christians. When you go against what they're thinking, what they're understanding, you go against the doctrine of the church, and they're going to be mad at you. So I'm just going to skip that. Like I said, it's not a salvation issue. And then we have the grass and the plants, and I might touch on that a little bit later. But as far as the sun, moon, and stars, and this is dealing with the calendar of Yah. And here again, I am going to skip over this section because it melts down, in context scripture, melts down Torah keepers just as well as it does Christians. So I'm going to skip this little area right here, and we're going to move on to the creation of the breath of life. And that starts out over here, and we have the waters, we have the creatures of the water, the birds of the air, and we have all the great sea creatures, and every living creature that moves, it's within the waters. And Elohim saw that it was good, and brought them, and they was placed there to increase and multiply. So then we come to the next day, and Elohim is bringing forth living creatures of the land. We have the livestock, the creeping creatures, the beast of the earth, and they're all created according to their kind. Now, this kind here that's being spoken of, beast of the earth and livestock and the creeper on the earth, all this is wild. Wild game, wild animals, not domesticated farm animals. Although it says according to their kind, and that kind comes a little later on. But this is the creation, not just the making, but the creation, the first. And these are the wild beasts. And then we come to Elohim said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Now, us, if you will remember back in Genesis 1:3, we have Yeshua. And of course, as you know, all things was made by him and through him. And this is exactly what it's talking about. Let us make. And I don't believe that this is only just Yeshua, although it was being created and set up for him to be our Messiah. I think all the heavenly host played a part in this. As we well know in 2 Peter, that each day of this creation period is 1,000 years to us. One day is 1,000 years. And so this is a lot of work. This is not just I spoke and it happened. It was the vibrations. It was Elohim spoke it into existence. This vibration is the creation of atoms. Say, no, it's atom, not Adam. And all these heavenly hosts, if you could think about all these atoms being manipulated, this is the structure, the foundation to everything. And in this dimension, in this world, is atoms. And if you can sort of imagine this clay, they can see this. We're sharing our existence with them. They're just in another dimension. So you can imagine these heavenly hosts pushing these atoms together, creating and molding. And it is Elohim. He is the architect, not to be borrowing Freemason terminology, but he is the great architect. And he did speak this into existence. And he was the plan to put all this together, although each day was 1,000 years. So it was a lot of work going on here, a lot of thinking. So we have, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the shamayim and over the livestock and over all the earth and over all the creeping creatures that creep on the earth. Now, this is domination. Let's just read on. And Elohim created the man in his image. In the image of Elohim, he created him, male and female, he created them. Very important here. he made them together. When he made the male, he made the female. There was no speaking about this man should not be alone. He needs a helper. It is both male and female, and it is all races of people. This is where you come into existence here. It's scientifically impossible for one race of people to give birth to another race of people. Now, I know that when I share this with people and they get mad about it, I ask them about, well, where do all the races come from? And of course, I have to tell them that it's scientifically impossible for one race to give birth to another race. And of course, the Tower of Babel comes up. But that is not scripture as far as where all the races come from. There was no magic, no change mentioned other than returning them to their original language. Confusing and confounding their language was where they had learnt each other's language. This knowledge had been pulled back from them, and it just brought them back to their original language, where they couldn't understand each other any longer. As far as the languages being created at that time, was Scripture tells us that, you can go back in Scripture and see that there's many different tribes and peoples, nations, tongues. But he told them, bear fruit and increase and fill the earth and subdue it. Pay attention here. This male and female was told to bear fruit and increase, to multiply. That wasn't told later on to Adam. It was told to this sixth-day man and woman. And they're told to subdue it, the earth, and to rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the Shamayim, and over all creatures moving on the earth. And that's what I just said about this is domination. This is the authority to take life. This is the authority to dominate everything. The birds, the fish, the land, the animals of the land. Man is given domination over all this. Now, this world is a test, and this is Satan's time, and this is his world, but you can have domination over it. You have domination over all, including the man that made us stumble in the first earth age and is setting out to make us stumble in this earth age. But let me point out this domination here, not to jump back to Genesis 1:6, where people get mad and they fall to pieces and they melt down. But when you see this rule over the earth and subdue it, and you're given domination over the animals and the birds of the air, but I've yet to read anywhere in this scripture we have domination over the moon and the stars and the sun and the sky. And when you mention all this space travel stuff, where is this that you have the authority to ever go there? The Tower of Babel, if you're going to bring that up against the races, then surely if he stopped that, He's not allowing what's happening now. How can that be? Do you believe what I'm reading to you right here? Or do you believe something outside of this book? Okay, now we move into, okay, I'm almost out of time. Now we're moving into the plants and these animals and what they're eating and what man's eating. And this reads about the breath of life, and every green plant is for food, and it came to be so. This isn't telling you to be vegan. This isn't telling you you can't eat meat. We have hunters and fishermen up here to rule and subdue the earth and the animals, hunting and fishing. And these 6-day men aren't just men. Same as the animals are wild. This 6-day man is wild. I'm not going to say Neanderthal, but definitely cave dwellers. But these are wild men. And this food chain through here is what this plant area is. It's the food chain for man. And Leviticus 11 goes into detail about this food chain. But really the bottom line, it's really so simple, is we don't eat scavengers. And that's exactly what this is saying. All right, I don't want to make these too long and people lose their interest. And it's my goal to bring people in to the covenant, and I'm going to make every effort to do that. So I think I'm going to stop right here, and then we'll pick up. I might just continue on, but I'll just put it on another video. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take me a little break, and hopefully you'll watch the next video too and find it interesting. Hopefully you're finding this interesting. But at any rate, thank you for watching. And I hate to ask it, but could you please like and subscribe so this might be picked up and the seed spread even beyond us? All right. Thank you. Shalom.